Roll call, yes. Thank you, Vice Chair Spencer.
Roll call.
Chairperson Window is absent. Vice Chair Spencer.
Here.
Commissioner Pitchley.
Here.
Commissioner Lujan, absent. And Commissioner Potter.
Here.
And Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
We have a quorum. Vice Chair.
Next item, the next item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Someone like to make a motion?
I motion. Second.
Motion? Accepted. Public comment. These are non-agenda items. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment? No? Moving on. No oral communication and no written communication?
No, ma'am.
Yes?
No, ma'am. They're here for special events.
Okay. Come on up. Yeah.
Oh, they can do,
So their public comment will come up when we talk about special events, not during the public comment.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. Okay, discussion topics. Approve the Recreation and Parks Commission meeting minutes from December 15th.
I approve.
I approve. I second. Moving to the next agenda item, the selection of the new commission chairperson. Would someone like to make a nomination?
I think that's coming from Dennis.
Yeah, I'll open it up really quick. So this is a process and action we take at the beginning of every year to identify a chairperson and a vice chair for the following year for 2026. I did get some feedback from other commissioners who aren't present this evening. Ms. Lujan, for example, did share that she wanted to recommend Mr. Pitchley for chairperson and entertain conversation around potentially either Leah or herself as vice chair, depending on the workload and some of those interesting factors. However, those are just some of the comments she wanted me to read into the record. With that said, you have my report, and I'm available for questions if you have any.
Did Tony say anything? Talk to you about anything at all? About the chairperson?
Nothing in particular.
Okay, thanks.
Is it now open? Yep. Okay. Would anyone like to make a nomination for the chairperson for the next year?
I nominate the person to the left of me, Mr. Pitchley.
I second that nomination.
I third that nomination.
Do you want to vote?
Yes, we're going to vote. All in favor of electing Andre to the next position for chairman of the Commission for Placerville Parks and Recreation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So approved.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Very
sir.
nice.
Or my condolences, whichever is
Yeah,
more appropriate.
congratulations.
Thank you.
At this point, Vice Chair Spencer, you can defer, most likely. If Mr. Pitchley would like to.
So I'll take the gavel and the...
Yes, please.
That's what you're supposed to do.
There you go. You want the binder too?
No, we're good. All right, thank you. At this point, we'll do a nomination for vice chair. Is there a nomination on the floor? We have Commissioner Potter is nominating Commissioner Lujan. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so there's a motion to nominate Commissioner Lujan. Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? Okay. With a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Commissioner Lujan has been elected as vice chair of the commission.
Congratulations.
All right, we're going to move on to item 5.3, special events review. And at this point, we'll turn it over to Mr. Lishman.
All right, good evening. Okay, let's see. So tonight we are here to just receive and report and review the 2025 and 2026 special events and make recommendations to Mr. Dennis here for presentation to the City Council if necessary. So a little bit of background. City of Placerville's Community Services Department administers various special events to promote community engagement among city and county residents. While many events are organized and run by community groups, the city sponsors or co-sponsors several, which include the Fishing Derby, Rise and Shine, Community Cleanup Days, the El Dorado County Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run, National Night Out, Trick or Treat on Main Street, Hometown Holidays on Main, tree lighting, and the Hangtown Christmas Parade. Did I miss any, Dennis? Okay. The Recreation and Parks Division of the Community Services Department oversees and manages the special events application process for events held on city property. And many large events take place on Main Street in the historic downtown Placerville, which sometimes require road closures. To support all event organizers, the City Council has prioritized and established clear guidelines, policies, and procedures for managing special events requests on Main Street. The city currently sponsors or co-sponsors approximately 7 events approved by the council each year. And based on the previously approved applications and guidelines, staff have determined some grammatical revisions and basic reformatting are needed to streamline event permit process, improve cost management, and ensure compliance with required regulations. These revisions are in process and tend to evolve based on the event request types. However, the base standard shall not be altered to ensure protection from liability and cost recovery. So with that, the following tables, the following table shows all the events that were successfully held in 2025. I'm not sure why the one ended up yellow. I don't know if you highlighted that up? Yeah, I did. Okay. So there's a whole list of all the 2025 events. Hopefully you guys had the opportunity to take a look at those. And then the next table on the last page is the events that have so far applied for the calendar year of 2026. So as you can see, there's quite a bit more in 2025. I anticipate as the year rolls on, a lot of these other ones will come in, and the 2026 event list will probably be just as long or close to it. So with that, I will open it up to any questions, comments.
I have a comment.
Come in.
I'd like to add one. It's called Wine in the Mine. I believe the application for that ends January 31st. Is that correct?
Oh, go ahead.
So the annual application for events are for full street closures downtown.
Gotcha.
But we do take, based on what our policy states in regards to different types of events throughout the year. Ideally, we want to get it in sooner rather than later.
Gotcha.
Hope that makes sense?
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lishman. Are there any other clarifying questions before we open it up for discussion? Okay. Let's go ahead and, commissioners, anything that you wanted to, that isn't a question, that you wanted to, besides the comment on the Wine in the Mine event, any other comments?
Is this something that you are involved with already, or is it a new project?
It's happened in the past. I think it's been about 12 years since it happened.
I see.
And I want to open it up again because I understand it was pretty successful.
Can you give a brief?
Yeah,
Well, that would take us off the focus of the
Okay,
item right
all
now.
right, okay.
So it's just about the special events that
All right, thank
what's
you.
been presented. So if there's no further discussion, we'll open it up for public comment.
Good evening. Greg Rezac, Golden History Association, just asking for your consideration, serious consideration, for our street closure for the wagon train event. We're planning on running on the left side from Bedford down to Sacramento, stretch it all the way down. We're planning on a lot of history on this one. We have everyone involved, Save the Graves, Historic Society, and on all the actors and reenactors. So if we get any help we can from the city or whatever on the street cost of the closure, we sure would appreciate it. Looks like we have the funding this year, so we should be okay. So with that, thank you.
All right, and again, your name?
Greg.
Greg, have you already been in contact with the Community Services Department about your event?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right, so that's in the works, and,
His application is received.
okay, fantastic. Okay, well, appreciate the information.
and what date is that?
June 6th.
I don't have the application in front of me, but did it, oh, I'm over here. Did it include the full street closure on it that you guys wanted to have? Okay.
Okay, if there's, this is not an action item, it's just information only, so unless there's anything else we need to hear, we can move on.
There's a couple of clarifying points that we want, well, that I need some feedback on.
Dennis, hang on, is there one more bit of public comment?
Yes, my name's Loretta Rezac, and I'm also with the Golden History Association. Just wanted to see if we can go ahead and get it on the agenda for the city council to hopefully approve it, and we wanted to ask them maybe to be a partner involved for next year.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and have that discussion with Mr. Nishihara,
Okay,
as we would not be handling any council agenda
Okay.
items, so,
All
but
right.
Dennis can facilitate that.
thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
I think some of it comes from the recommendation around the commission's perspective on what we feel would be supporting the community as a whole and setting a framework for some of those priorities in regards to which events we want to move towards for 2026. The caveat to going into 2026 is the semi-quintennial 250-year national birthday of America. And some of those ideas that have come from the community include, but not limited to, potentially a parade on the 4th of July in conjunction with the events that are kind of already happening at the fairgrounds, understanding that we do have very limited resources in regards to kind of the bigger events that we do. You heard in Mr. Lishman's report, at least half a dozen, if not more, events throughout the city. So does the commission have any feeling or thought around what type of engagement we should have for the semi-cinquentennial 250-year anniversary? Are there any thoughts in regards to potentially supporting Golden History as kind of some of those components? Now, there's a lot of creative ways that we could go around this, and there are certain things that we could do to kind of enhance some of our partnerships. But my question to the commission is, where do you have your perspective in regards to what are those priorities? We know that the Christmas tree lighting is a priority for some. We know that the parade is a priority for some. As I make this presentation to City Council, what would be the consensus of the commission to say, hey, look, everything is absolutely important, and we can have anything that we want. We just can't have everything that we want, right? And so leveraging some partnerships with, like, for example, with Golden History, it is a full street closure, but it is kind of expensive, right, for a lot of smaller nonprofits to be able to cover that full gambit. To Mr. Lishman's point earlier, one of the main reasons I highlighted Oktoberfest, which is located on page 2 in your staff report, is that was hosted by the Merchants on Main. They did an amazing job, and Alan, who's the new president for their organization now, really kind of spearheaded that. What's amazing about that event is not only was it popular the second year, the first year was kind of grassroots. They were just getting started. They needed some extra support, and the attendance wasn't there. However, this last year, it's my understanding that they had a successful event, and they were able to, and I can tell you and attest to it, they were able to cover a lot of those costs, primarily for two reasons. Number one, the volunteer engagement and the leadership of Alan and all of the merchants downtown. And number two, for being completely frank, they sold a lot of beer, and it was very, very popular. And so they were able to cover a lot of those costs. The other event that's a good example of that would be our most recent holiday tree lighting event, in where we had invested a little over $19,000 for the full gambit, including the new tree that's behind KFC that came in with some sponsorships. We raised that exact amount of money. We spent that exact amount of money. So that being said, my question to the commission really is, what are some of our priorities going into 2026? Keeping in mind, we also have the 250-year anniversary of our nation. Are there ideas? Are there thoughts?
Okay.
Pretty much where I'm at.
Commissioners, any comments, thoughts?
None at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Potter? No? Commissioner Zimmerman? Nothing? Okay, well, let me go, and then if one of you has a comment or thought, let me know. One, I'm a big fan of special events, especially for a small community. It can help enhance the sense of community, sense of place. It can help with the community and its identity, and I think things surrounded that are focused on Gold Rush era history is a great way of bringing people in who want to check that type of stuff out. So I think that the wagon train's fantastic. I actually like the stagecoach. I know that not everybody's a big fan of it, and I know it's not always been hasn't always been done the way that I think the city would like it. But it's a cool thing to see on Main Street. So I think anything like that is great. Special events in general give the local residents something to come down and do, and I love the idea of positive social interaction and celebrating the town, its history, just the sense of community. So I'm a big fan of all of that. If the event is not a city event, I really hope that that those events are paying for or at least covering city costs. If they can't cover their own costs, that's on them. But when it comes to city events, I like hearing that you brought in $19,000 or you had a budget of $19,000 and that's what you spent. And I really appreciate that. I thought the extra Christmas tree was great to have. It really looked nice. And most of the events I'm able to attend, and I haven't found a flaw in any of them that would make me say that we shouldn't be doing any of them. I think it's great. I think it's good for the merchants if they will make that decision to stay open a little longer. Bringing in especially people from out of town and even our local residents, if they're going to be shopping while they're here or spending money with some of the vendors, and if those vendors are purchasing some of their supplies locally, good for our local economy. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Commissioner Potter?
Yes, thanks. So June 6th is a Saturday, and should we have a parade on 4th of July, that's a Saturday. So you got month-to-month street closures on Saturdays, which is not a bad thing for me. But I believe we have to get the merchants okay through that as well. We have to buy that, get them to buy in. That's the big thing. So, Dennis, what's the best way to handle that?
To work with the merchants, to talk to merchants on Main. I think
Alan?
I think the biggest piece is we do have, although Greg and Lorena are here, they're merchants on Main as well.
Yep.
They're on Main Street. They know, they have their pulse on it. I think the piece that we want to be able to also understand, and just being creative around that 250-year anniversary piece, right? Do we come in with a large event for some pomp and circumstance, and we say, hey, look, the city's going to do this 250 kind of year anniversary, or are we able to collectively utilize smaller organizations, such as like Golden History, the school with the homecoming parade, and all these other ones that we already know we're doing regularly, but add a little bit, I think, and I met with Commissioner Larissa a little earlier, we called it like a little sprinkle of 250 years, you know, a little theme around the events that we typically do throughout the year with this 250-year theme saying, look, we are celebrating our nation's birthday. We are also not only just celebrating our nation's birthday, but we're highlighting it as part of our normal events that we do throughout the year. So we don't have to have some huge pomp and circumstance, but there are going to be pockets of that, right? Golden History, or if merchants want to do another event. That way it kind of disseminates the workload from the city kind of holding everything, and the more partners that we have, it kind of expands our reach a little bit of in a lot of little places. So that was kind of one caveat to that. But to your point, Commissioner Potter, is we kind of have to get everybody on the same page with that piece. And that's my hope, to take that to City Council to see if they kind of agree or disagree, because I'll serve at the pleasure of what City Council is saying, and at the same time, they also realize that we have limited resources ourselves. I will say this, if we were flushed with cash and we weren't asking the same people month after month for the same amount of money, there's only a few wells, and we know them in town, it's going to be dry. So do we want, what's the consensus? And that's kind of what I'm asking for the commission. It's just some real feedback around this.
Thank you, Commissioner Potter. My question then, following up to that, is there a list of priorities, like these are the, this is our number one event that we want to do, here's number two. If it came down to it and you had to decide, we've got to do, we can only do 5 of the 7, or we can only do 8 of the 10, do you know what those, do you have that in your mind, or has the department talked about what those would be?
So adopting last year's model in regards to 2025, I presented the same list that Mr. Lishman designed for us today, but more honed around full street closures, because that's the most expensive components of events. And from those priorities, we derived last year the Halloween on Main Street, which we know is very, very popular, the Christmas tree lighting event, and the parade.
Okay.
So those were the top 3 that were adopted as a model.
And the parade is the Christmas parade?
Hangtown
Okay,
Christmas
all right.
parade.
And then you mentioned there's something going on 4th of July at the fairgrounds.
I believe so, yes.
Do we know the-
They've had fireworks and a family event.
Is it an all-day deal, or is it mostly late afternoon into the evening because of the fireworks? Do we know?
I can't recall. Do you know anything about that one, Matt?
I don't know what they're doing this year, but in the past, I think they've typically had the races, and they do them a little earlier on that day, and then they turn all the
Okay.
lights and everything off, and then people also come in just
All
for
right.
fireworks, so.
Okay.
But I'm not aware of anything.
I wonder, Matt, if you're aware of any of enhanced celebrations at the fairgrounds for the 250 year. I mean, is it going to be just exactly the same? Because the way I'm looking at, and I agree with Andre, that unless it's if whoever puts it on can do it within that budget, great. But I think there also has to be a hierarchy of deciding which ones we can add, what can be added based on the current budget and constraints. And if the people at the fairgrounds can maybe make their celebration a little bit more festive, maybe, I don't know what the word would be. But there has to be something. And I don't think that the trickle-down I don't think that's going to do it. To me, it seems not very special, and it is 250 years, but just my thought.
Thank you, Commissioner Spencer. So it really hasn't been thought out what those smaller events might be. That's something you guys are noodling right now. Okay. The other thing, and the reason I asked about the fairgrounds is I would ask that the department give thought to trying to avoid duplication of activities. It just makes no sense to try and put on something at the same time that the fairgrounds is doing, especially if they're similar. The races and fireworks, well, I mean, the fireworks are going to happen after anything we would do, and the races are probably a different crowd than might normally show up here, maybe. So there might not be a conflict there, but if they were going to be doing something, a big celebration over there, I don't know why we would want to try it here. It would either dilute both events or we would end up, putting on a big party for very few people. And I'd like to, we've got Main Street, which is unique. There's not a lot of main streets like we have right here. We've got a pool that, if open on the 4th of July, could be a great venue for something. Just that we not duplicate efforts that are being done elsewhere on the same day. And that's,
I would agree to that. I'd also would agree to do something that would tie them all together. As Commissioner Pishley said, the pool itself would be a great draw. So would Goldbug be a great draw. Doing something different where we can celebrate the 250 years, and then it all ends up in Main Street. Doesn't have to be a closure, but it could be partial closure where the merchants can get involved, and then it ends up at the fairgrounds. That's what I'm picturing. I think it could be a fun event. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
all right, commissioners, any other comments, thoughts? Commissioner Zimmerman, anything? No? Okay, all right. Mr. Nishihara, Mr. Lishman, anything else?
I have had some conversations with Merchants on Main, Alan in particular, and they are kind of aligned with what Commissioner Potter is saying. They realize the overhead for a full street closure and understand the significance of the bell tower. So we will entertain that conversation with them. We'll continue the conversations with the current applicants, including Golden History, and we'll see. The interesting part about that, and if I had a magic wand, I'd wave it, but if I could put all of the events on one day and it'd be on the 4th of July, that would be great, but I'm not in charge of the horses, and I'm not in charge of History Day, and I'm not in charge of the money. So it's really that caveat of trying to mitigate and manage all these special interest groups in regards to what's going to be the best celebration. So it's kind of probably going to be a little bit like making hot dogs. It's not going to be pretty at first, but hopefully it tastes good.
And my last comment is just I would hope that you and the Main Street merchants can partner to, figure these things out, as well as some combined marketing to bring community out. That would be fantastic. And I'm all for, people outside of Placerville spending money here in town. I think that's good for everybody. So,
Fantastic.
all right. If nothing else, we'll move on to item 5.4. Banner over Main, policy and price review, and that would be Director Nishihara.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Pitchley. For those of you who have noticed or driven downtown, which is actually everybody, you probably see it every day, there's an amazing banner across Main Street that is connected to 2 city buildings that we own, and it is not only popular, but it is prominent. It actually creates a little bit of a downtown spirit. I mean, one of the first times I drove through downtown, it really makes you feel like connected, like, hey, there's something actually happening in this town. We average anywhere from about 34 to 40 banners from organizations throughout the year. Our current price point is $200 per banner. We have been recently contracting out with a local company, and unfortunately, like everything else, prices are going up. Currently, the price is proposed to go up from $200 to $250, and right now, it's kind of a pass-through, where we spend approximately an hour to an hour and a half of our staff time, whether it's 4 15-minute phone calls, following up to make sure that we got the banner, probably another 15 to 20 minutes to say, hey, did you come and get your banner? And is this banner going up or is this banner going down? And so a lot of those administrative costs, actually all of those administrative costs that are indirect to that, are kind of just pass through. We absorb that cost. And knowing the kind of fiscal challenges we're facing, I'm actually making a proposal for us not to just be able to recoup the cost of the banner installation on a regular basis, but I'd like to try to recoup some of that administrative cost because it is a popular piece. Now, there are 2 points to this. It's the cost of doing business. So that's a theory that's out there. Well, unfortunately, it's going to go up. It's the cost of doing business. But then at the same time, we do serve a lot of nonprofits. And it does help with the spirit of our community and the heritage in which we want to uphold, right? And so there's a philosophical elasticity where we go up too much in price, and now all of a sudden we're pricing out our nonprofits. But then at the same time, if we go up in price too much, we might price ourselves out of the market. So we don't want to go up too high. We may not want to go up at all. My question is, are there any thoughts around this piece? Because I realize it is also a very, very popular component of what we do in our community. I mean, everybody sees it as they drive through, and if anything, it is our banner on Main Street. It is very important to us. With that, you have my report, and I'm available for questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nishihara. Any clarifying questions from commissioners? Okay, then discussion?
I did a little research on the cities that were placed there in front of us from Fullerton all the way down, and took the population of those cities and divided it into the dollars and see what that came up with and see where Placerville sat. And Placerville actually sat pretty amongst the highest for cost. My question is that $250 is the customer cost, correct?
By customer cost is that's what we pay for them to put up.
Yes, okay. What is the nonprofit paying?
They paid, right, so maybe I'm misunderstanding you.
Yeah.
I apologize. So right now, the banner price is $200. That's how much the company charges us to put up the banner, $200. It's basically pass-through.
Gotcha.
Charges $200, people pay $200, we schedule it, and they put it up. Am I saying that right?
So you're saying that the company charges $200.
To put it up.
You charge the customer, or you charge the customer who wants the banner up the $200 so that the city is not putting any of the cost through.
Pretty much.
Got you. I got a little bit more thought about this. I got to hold off a second.
Commissioner Spencer, any questions? Comments? No, it's all good. Okay, Commissioner Zimmerman, no comments? Okay. The company wants to charge the additional $50. If the city said, no, we're not going to do it, what would the company that's hanging the banner do? Would they say we can't do it for less than $250? Is it, or is it?
We'd probably research and.
Okay, so you'd be looking for another
We'd have to
vendor
look for another
to
vendor.
put that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are other ideas which we've kind of toyed around with, different types of pulley systems. Back in the day, traditionally, there used to be a platform, and staff would be able to pulley it across and then pull it back.
Right.
Engineering to be able to do it on both sides might be difficult with the traffic, you know. I'm a rec guy, so I'm not really a
Right.
mechanical engineer. I don't know how it would.
Okay. So right now, and there's a minimum height that it has to go up because certain vehicles have to be able to get under it. And I believe the fire truck is like pretty much the standard for, it's usually a ladder truck. If a ladder, we don't have that, but, and that probably is why you have to have somebody come out with the right equipment, a bucket, to be able to put it up. Do you have to close, do they have to close the street to do that?
Just a parking space.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what we're hearing is that they want to charge $250, and we have to give you we think that's okay, or we'd like you to go find another vendor, and at one point, city staff was hanging this?
Yeah, there was a secured platform on our city building, so we would be able to go outside and then kind of utilize a pulley system to stretch it
Okay.
across the way
All right.
without blocking traffic.
And without a truck?
and without a truck.
Okay.
Right? And there are costs to that, right? Like if the city wanted to bring it in-house, which would be an option as opposed to contracting out, then we'd have to get the training for staff to be able to operate the bucket truck. We'd have to get the fuel. First of all, we need a bucket truck.
Right.
We'd have to start there, jokingly, but it's true. But in my analysis, where we are right now, just with the staffing costs, it's approximately $116.50. Then you tack on the $250 for the banner, it would be around $366, $366.
If the city did it itself.
Right.
to
Now,
have the
we are
banner.
still researching other cities. I think there was some other points where we could look at other scopes and kind of figure out where people are at.
Okay.
So these are just the initial cost analysis in regards to
All right.
the quickest one we could kind of look at.
Well, and it's typical that when you don't have the right equipment, you outsource it. So, and it's sometimes more cost-effective to do that. Any other
I do.
comments?
Have we looked into the pulley system yet, Dennis, as far as looking at that and see where to be installed and if it's a possibility?
No, not in depth.
Okay.
Just concept.
And how about reaching out to the community? I think we both know a number of people that do operate lifts, and if we contact them and see what they can do for half the cost, we're still saving $125. You figure it that way. Something to look at. And I'm happy to take that on.
And that $125 that you're talking about would be the savings to the nonprofit or the city hanging the banner?
Yep,
Because the cost is there with the company, whether it's a
push
city
through.
event or not.
yep.
So,
We can still charge the $250 from the nonprofit if you choose to do that. Our cost is $125.
okay.
So looking at it that way.
Any other comments?
I support Mr. Potter's recommendation or thought. I think it would be wise to look at community resources, other groups that might be able to do it for that lower price. I just question, when somebody comes in that's been doing a contract for a while and they say it's due to inflation and other costs, do you ask what those are, what those additional expenses on their part might be? I suppose not. But I think at this point, that's a lot to absorb for a budget that's already strained. So looking outward into the community, I think, is a very good and valuable in all areas. I think everything that we've talked about tonight, I think if we include the community on a much wider scale, I think it will be beneficial across the board. But in this particular instance, it makes sense. If there are people that already have lifts and already have the equipment, why not ask the question? They can only say no.
Okay, so what I heard then was that Commissioner Potter's going to do the research on that? Okay. And anything else then, Commissioner Spencer, Commissioner Zimmerman? No? Okay. Just a sec, Matt. I personally don't have an issue with a set fee of $250. I think is there a book of fees or a book of city imposts that Placerville has? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like a fee schedule?
Like a fee schedule?
We're currently in development.
Okay, and so this would be part of that fee schedule, that would be in there. So once it becomes policy,
Yes.
you would have to go through a policy review, an annual policy review, and it would have to be, council would have to approve. So whatever we propose here, if it's going to become part of that book of fees or the fee schedule, we have to understand that that's probably not going to be easy to change until it's up for review. They wouldn't just, I know that the cities I've worked for, we couldn't just arbitrarily change something. We had to wait for that annual or biannual or whatever, every 2-year fees update, and which meant that if there was a cost change, we'd either be eating the cost if it went up, and because we couldn't charge more, or that we would have to make a decision about, do we charge them the full amount or do we charge them less, knowing that, that the actual cost has gone down? And which is why I think when I see here the plus administrative fees, that additional cost is going to cover what staff is doing when they're processing the forms and making the phone calls and gathering up whatever other information they have to make sure that the banners go up when they need to go up. So I don't have a problem with a set fee. I would guess that the banners, you said how many times a year banners go up?
We, approximately 35 to 40 organizations throughout the year would.
Throughout the year, okay.
Put it out.
So there's value there, and they want it. And I understand what you're saying about, budgets being stretched thin, but I also don't think, as long as they know ahead of time, $250 for the banner, they can budget for that. They can figure out what to do, just like the city would have to figure out what to do when their budget changed, which, I know has happened. So, and this is just information, it's not an action item.
Just recommendations. I am going to be taking.
Recommendations, okay,
to
so.
City Council, hopefully within the
All right,
next.
so my recommendation, the 250, I'm good with that. Commissioner Potter?
I want to look into it.
Okay, so he's going to get back to you on that. Commissioner Spencer?
I can agree to that,
Okay, to the 250?
with reservations.
Okay, and then Commissioner Zimmerman?
I think it's a good idea to look into it, but
Okay, all right, so there you go. And then Mr. Lishman?
I just wanted to add one other thing that I'm not sure if it's been talked about or thought about, but, so he said there's 30 to 40 banners a year. So that's not 52. So that means there's 12 to 22 where there's no banner. But we either got to pay the company $250 to come back and take it down, or we have a banner that's outdated on Main Street that doesn't necessarily look great.
Okay,
Sometimes we let it ride, sometimes we just eat it, but we'll put our banner up. So a lot of times when you see our banners, sometimes, like Goldbug's a great one, we can put it up just about any time of the year. And so sometimes it's just filler. We're paying them to come take the banner down. It's no extra for them to put a new banner up.
Right.
It's a one-trip thing. So
okay.
that's another cost that I think probably should go into that to help cover.
And I appreciate you bringing that up, because we're basically talking, it could be $500,
That's right. That's $700. That's
Correct.
$700.
or excuse me, $700.
And I also think that even what rate we're paying, I think is a pretty good discounted rate for a boom truck. I think
I would agree.
we're getting a pretty good rate as it is.
Because you're paying for the at least 2 staff that have to come out to operate the truck, their hourly rate, and then just, what would you pay for renting a truck? And when you said 700, I was thinking 250
No,
up,
700.
250 down, what's the 700?
Plus the 116 for the staff. So if you're
If-
taking one down, and you're taking one up and one down, that's $500 if you don't have another one putting up. Would you, right? You're paying $500. Now you have $116 for staff on that, right? Or is that 116 and 116, or just 116?
Do the scheduling to put it up, and to take it down, that's the 116, because we get lucky.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so $600 some dollars then.
Okay, all right.
I got you.
Well, I guess my main concern is just how do we try to minimize the cost to the city when, at least on those banners that are non-city banners? How do we do our best to try and recover those costs? Or pass those through, so. All right, so we've got 2 commissioners that want to see some research done. Commissioner Potter's volunteered to do that, and I'm good with the 250, and Commissioner Zimmerman is like, okay.
We'll make a
What would like to see
presentation to City
at the end.
Council.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Okay. If there's nothing else, then, Mr. Nishihara, we'll move on to 5.5, Department Update.
This is a fun one. We will be bringing back the community survey hopefully next month. We want to kind of tighten that up. I know we talked about that a couple of meetings ago. in regards to strengthening what our priorities are in the community. And we had some great feedback and work with Commissioner Lujan and Commissioner Pitchley around that. I do want to highlight what a great turnout we had at the Adopt a Trail meeting this past Saturday. Those of you guys who were able to attend. Great feedback. One thing that I did take away from it, I think there are two components to our trail. Trail use and maintenance, as well as trail volunteers. I think we got a lot of information from the constituents that were there, approximately maybe 20 or so or more, about 4 tables full of people. But thank you to Commissioner Potter and Commissioner Pitchley for attending, and we also had some other city staff and council members there. So we did not have a quorum, although I posted it to be safe just in case. We just kind of forego the agenda and move forward with that. And then I do want to make sure that, back a little bit to what Chairperson Pitchley said earlier around some of those fees, I will be bringing back Gold Bug Park and Mine fees, and as we go into the summer, the aquatics fees. So just some context around that. In my past life, I'm used to a fee schedule and putting it on a regular review, whether it's a year out or whether it's 2 years out. I'm also very used to not just the direct costs of program services, but including a percentage of the indirect costs that actually may sometimes impact the expense. And so it does sometimes make what would seemingly be a low-cost program, adding in some of those indirect administrative costs, kind of, I don't want to say it makes it more expensive, but it really does sometimes, unfortunately, make it more expensive. I will say this as a part of some of our values within the city of Placerville during my short tenure here. We and City Council and even the commissioners, when I started, put a high value on helping to support a lot of those programs. And there are not a lot of agencies out there that I've had experience with that put priority on supporting the indirect cost and really only putting in the direct costs, if that makes any sense. Unfortunately, we're at a place right now with our general fund, and a lot of our funding for our department comes out of the general fund, where we need to take a look at some of those indirect costs. Now, traditionally, and Mr. Lishman can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm kind of just giving you an overview, as programs come up, we bring things individually. You notice the softball, we'll bring back, and we'll bring back the banner, and then now we're going to talk about aquatics. My goal over the next year is to really look at all of those fees, take a look at the schedule, take a look at those indirect costs. To Commissioner Spencer's comment a little bit earlier about the vendors, are there 3 bucket trucks companies? Are there 3 tree companies? Who are our preferred vendors, and can we negotiate the best price? Because in all fairness, we've got a great community who really do want to help out. So at that point, where's our preferred vendors? Do we have a comprehensive list of our preferred vendors to make sure that we're getting the best price and the quality for service? And what does our fee schedule look like? And are we able to manage some of those indirect costs within that fee schedule? It is not going to be an easy lift, but I definitely believe it's something we need to move towards, and we'll have more discussions around it with the conversation around Gold Park and Mine and aquatics as we move into it. Because as we all know, aquatics is a very, very expensive service that we provide. Important and vital, but expensive. With that said, I'm available for questions or thoughts.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Commissioners, any questions? None. Okay. I have a question. Could you just briefly give us a definition for indirect costs, if you're able to do that? I understand direct costs, and so, but just in case, could you explain direct costs and indirect costs when it comes to?
So the simplest way to explain it is the stuff that a participant would pay for, the basketball, the jerseys, the facility rental. And what they're not paying for is probably some of the staffing time to coordinate the schedule, to put the teams together. We've got over 700 young people in our in our league right now, thanks to Wendy and recreation staff. They've been doing a great job. 50 volunteers, 20 staff. So the indirect cost is some of that overhead, right? Some of that administrative costs, not charging kids for paper or for lights.
Right.
Or for staff time. I'm charging them, this is how much the basketball costs, this is how much the jersey costs.
And you said that when you were talking about the general fund, is that something where this has already been discussed, or you're just thinking ahead as this may be something we have to look at?
A combination of both, because it's all happening in parallel.
Okay.
We've got programs that are kind of running where we're occasionally bringing back the softball. Staff's done a great job to negotiate our deals in regards to propane for last year. So it's kind of happening in parallel. It is not a pipe dream of mine, it is not a goal of mine, it is something we need to do.
Okay.
It's something we definitely need to take a look at.
Okay. All right, and then that's, again, something that would end up in your fee schedule. All right. And I'll just offer this up. In one of the cities I worked for, it was very clear, and this was policy, that the city would cover 50% of the cost of all youth sports direct costs. So, if a basketball cost $20, the city was already covering 10 of that. But the fees that were charged to the participants would cover the other 50%. There was no charge for the indirect costs, as you're referring to in that one city. In another one, there was an internal service charge. So if we used vehicles, whether we used them a lot or a little, the department got a bill from Public Works for use of that. And is that kind of what you're thinking about as an indirect charge, indirect
Absolutely.
fees or indirect?
And some of
Cost.
it could potentially be looked at as long-term deferred maintenance costs.
Sure.
In regards to replacements for nets or for fencing or whatever type of situation where we're looking at. We need to look at all of these expenses, both in the moment and long-term.
Okay.
There's going to be a moment where we're going to have to resurface some pickleball courts. There's going to be a moment where we're going to have to adjust our partnership with the schools to utilize their facilities. There are going to be other things that we need to account for that have to happen in the moment where we are economically.
Okay, well, appreciate the clarification there. Any comments? If not, we can move on from this? Okay. So that was item 5.5. We are now to item 6, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
A motion from Commissioner Spencer. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, Commissioner Zimmerman with a second. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
I saw a bug.